All righty, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Little AEW Dynamite review. I'm a little tired today, folks. I ended up watching this from like 1 to 3 in the morning last night there. Feeling a little groggy today, not just from the lack of sleep, but groggy after watching this fucking garbage, folks. Um, Started off with John Moxley making his big comeback there, summer of '92. Alrighty, wrestling Gunter. Gunther. Cat's going crazy there. The Gunter set him off, folks. So John Moxley returned. He was in rehab and stuff. So John Moxley's back. He was talking about his demons or whatever. There, he had like a dream. A dream. There was a brown cloud or something following him around there. We got Bobby Pina in the chat. Cool man 952. Diabolical. Bobby Pina, he lost a lot of weight. Yes, Bobby, I noticed that myself. The promo, it was, I don't know, there like some kind of Jake the Snake trouble with drugs kind of promo. I don't know how to describe it there. I had demons. I don't give a shit about the demons. I don't run from them. I beat them up. Something like this there. I'm thirsty, but nowadays I only drink blood. So it was like hardcore wrestling mixed with recovering addict kind of feel, I guess. Um, but physically, Moxley, his voice sounded different. He sounded fucked up, like he wasn't well. You know what I mean? He didn't. Yes, that's true, Diabolical. He did go off on some guy in the crowd, a heckler or something. When he started the promo, a heckler started yelling at him. And then he's like, shut the fuck up or something like this. Get him out of here. I don't know if they got rid of him there. That's the regime company, folks. You can't yell too much or else you're banned or you get kicked out. I don't know what the guy yelled at him, but he was criticizing Moxley, and the go-to is kick him out of the building for his criticism there. I thought WWE was the regime who don't accept criticism or whatever. You yell at me, get out, kick him out of here, fuck you, or whatever. But his voice sounded off, you know what I mean? Like if he was sick or something. Yes, dude says he called Moxley a drunk, okay? Of course, that would be insulting there. I don't know if it would call for the fan to be escorted out of the building there. That kind of goes with the territory, right? They made this shit public and they want to have his first appearance right out of rehab. And he looked like he just got out of rehab the day before or something. He didn't look well. He looked very skinny, like it was mentioned in the chat there. Like very skinny and fat, obviously. There, he was swollen up like a big tomato or something. There, looked red and fat. Now he looked very pale and very skinny. You know what I mean? I don't want to insult him too much there, but the way he was moving around his face and stuff, he kind of looked like he was on crack or something. You know what I mean? I don't want to sound too harsh or something like this, but just physically, the way he looked, his face and his mannerisms, and he kind of looked like a crackhead girl walking outside with the flailing arms, and his voice and the way he looked, his face, you know what I mean? He looked like he was on crack. Hopefully, he didn't go to the rehab and come out with a crack addiction there, but he looked fucked up a little. If you go back and look at the promo, maybe he was locked up somewhere and he didn't eat or something for the month, which is why he lost. It looks like 100 pounds or something. He looks skinny. He looks smaller than Adam Cole or something. But the way he looked physically and the way he talked and stuff, he kind of looked like he was on crack or on coke or something. I don't know there. But that's just my opinion. I would have maybe waited a few weeks before bringing him back there, let him eat a little bit, fill out or something because he didn't look right. That's my opinion. I'm not a doctor there, but just look at him. He looked like he was hopped up on crack. Maybe it's because he lost a lot of weight too there, but normally you don't lose 100 pounds in a month like this. I don't know. Something he just looked weird. I'm not saying for real he's on crack, but goddamn, just look at the way he looked in this promo. Google crackhead video, look at him, and then look at Moxley. Tell me what you see. You know what I mean? Um, and then you had a backstage vignette, MJF and Wardlow. So the people were excited. You know, they're talking about a potential feud of Wardlow and MJF. That's going to come at some point for sure, you know. People were talking, you know, like if the shit with MJF last week or like Wardlow against Punk, apparently this created interest in an MJF versus Wardlow match or whatever. According to Brian Alvarez, it fucked up the CM Punk story and it created the better looking story for MJF versus Wardlow kind of deal. Well, if you had any interest in the story here, or if it looked like it was going to be interesting, they somehow managed to fucking kill off whatever seriousness this could have been. Like in the backstage vignette, you know, MJF, he says he apologizes to Wardlow, but he put his hands on him, so he's gonna dock his pay. And you know, Wardlow's just standing there with a goofy face, and basically MJF just made him his bitch there, and Wardlow just took it in the ass, took it with a smile on his face, you know. Sean Spears is going to show you how it's done or whatever. And you know what I mean? So I didn't come off looking at this vignette thinking that Wardlow is going to turn on him. I'm thinking they're just going to keep Wardlow and him together for a long time and they're just killing off any potential excitement that Wardlow and MJF could have had or whatever. The main feud is supposed to be Punk and MJF anyway, but that's pretty much turned to shit or whatever. There. First match, it was Adam Cole and Britt Baker versus Orange Cassidy and Statlander. So McMahon, they're doing Bet Phoenix and Edge versus Miz and Maryse. AEW, they're obviously ripping this off there with this kind of match. Cole and Britt Baker, they're trying to do the power couple stuff or whatever, which is clearly a WWE thing. You know what I mean? But the match itself was pretty cheap, especially the women wrestling. It was boring and shitty looking, some of it there. And the men weren't that much more exciting. And Adam Cole, he just looked pale as fuck. You know what I mean? I was looking at this guy there in this match. I couldn't help but notice how fucking pale he looked. Like, can this guy look any more in D? Like, his face, his hair, he looks like a dollar store wannabe superstar or something. He has the hair, but he's a midget. He's skinny. He looks like a fucking dollar store version of a Shawn Michael or something. You know what I mean? That's how some people describe him. That's how he looks a bit. You know what I mean? He looks like he's a wrestler, but like a welfare version. The motherfucker has no muscle. The least he can do is put on some tan in the can or something. You know what I mean? At least try to look like somebody, look like a wrestler. Like, wrestlers have tans usually. This guy is fucking skinny and pale as fuck. Like, go to a tanning salon. If he's too lazy to go to the gym, at least go to a tanning salon. You can at least do that. Fuck, you know what I mean? Put some effort into it. But so Adam Cole, I think Orange Cassidy hits Britt Baker by accident. Britt Baker goes through an obviously fake table there that was all covered up and shit. Based off of some distraction there, Orange Cassidy gets beat with the boring boom leg finisher. Like, Adam Cole, he's supposed to be such a big star, He's such a big in-ring competitor, apparently. I've always been bored to death of his matches, the same boring shit, Panama Sunrise and all that is. Get a fucking suntan, motherfucker. Forget the sunrise there. Put that move away for one match and get a suntan instead. You know what I mean? Try to at least look the part or something. But it's supposed to be that's what I was gonna say. It's head bump, and then it's a shitty finish with this running leg clothesline behind the head. It's boring. If he's such a 5-star performer, he can have a better finishing move than that. Fuck. The boom, there's zero boom to this. You know what I mean? Straight up. Come up with something cooler for a finishing move. Very fucking bland, this shit. You know what I mean? And then there's a backstage vignette. Apparently, Adam Cole and Orange Cassidy, they've been through so much there. They've been through various. They haven't even had a regular one-on-one match that I can remember. So far, it's all goofy tag match and 3-on-3 with the Young Bucks, 4-on-4. Now it's a mixed tag match. You could have had a one-on-one singles match to start or whatever, but they didn't do that. They're gonna have a one-on-one match, but it's going to be a lights out match once again. You know, if you do these lights out matches every 2 weeks, they're not going to feel big anymore. They never felt big. It's always felt like a desperate fucking ploy to get cheap cheers, the cheap hardcore. We're better than WWE. We're hardcore, but it's more like a TNA hardcore, a shit hardcore. You know what I mean? Except it's longer and there's acrobatics in it or whatever. But, Orange Cassidy and Adam Cole, it's not a serious enough feud to merit a big hardcore match. It's not a serious enough feud to merit that, like in WWE, you have a one-on-one match, right? And then something happens, a DQ, or the next time somebody wins, the next time the other guy wins, then it's a fucking no disqualification match, and then it's a normal fucking cage match. Then you have Hell in the Cell, you know what I mean? You build up. It has to be a serious feud, right? It builds up, and then what can they do next? Oh, fuck, it's the big razor blade cage match or something. You know what I mean? But AEW, they take goofy, throwaway shit like the women. They're Penelope Ford, Anna Jay, the Bunny. A throwaway feud that nobody thinks about or cares about. A feud that's not even fucking featured properly. And then they do a big hardcore match out of nowhere with this. And Adam Cole and Orange Cassidy, it's not a serious feud. Nobody takes this seriously to the point that it needs a big lights out match. You know what I mean? You're just gonna kill your fucking stupid match concept, which is just a basic hardcore match. But you know what I mean? Every 2 weeks you do the same shit. It's a fucking throwaway feud that gets the hardcore match, and it's not gonna feel special. You do it once or twice a year. When Kenny Omega did it against Dean Ambrose, it was the first one. It was on pay-per-view, shit like this. You know what I mean? Now you're just giving this shit away on Rampage for 500K. You're just fucking up your own shit, but whatever. Second match. CM Punk, ladies and gentlemen, versus Shawn Spears. Match lasted about 10 seconds. So Shawn Spears goes to get in. Punk just reverse duck or something, picks him up, hits him with the go to sleep 1, 2, 3. I'm not saying Shawn Spears should have had a competitive match or whatever, It makes sense that the jobber gets beat there, but Shawn Spears, he did a decent promo the other day there on Rampage, but he gets beat in 10 seconds. So whatever the promo accomplished for Shawn Spears, it's back to fucking catering or whatever. But I guess it's good enough for a bum like this. He gets to be on TV. But in terms of a match, it wasn't anything special, right? If this took place on Raw or SmackDown, Dave Meltzer would have gave it half a star. Does he give it 4 stars here because it did its job? Well, did it really do its job? I don't know. The CM Punk and MJF feud has fucking lost whatever magic it had. It felt magical the first week, and now it's not magical at all. And it's looking all retarded and shit like this. By the time you get to the match, it's like, all right, whatever, there, what's next? People are already talking about MJF versus Wardlow. Fuck, they're already moving on to the next feud. They don't even care about this anymore, and that's their own fans, talking about this. But Sean Spears is just a bum fucking jobber. I'm not saying he should have won or anything, but like the big thing that he was a victim in WWE, and Khan's gonna make him a main eventer and stuff. Are y'all gonna ever admit that y'all were wrong about this and hypocritical, and that it was all bullshit, and that Ty Dillinger is a fucking jobber? You know what I mean? Like, really, he's clearly treated like a fucking enhancement talent. So fuck him anyway. But like, this shit sucked there. It wasn't good. You advertise a Punk match, it lasts 5 seconds. It could have went at least 5 minutes. If he went fucking 30 minutes with Matt Seidel or whatever the fuck, you could have at least went 5 minutes. But Sean Spears, he's there to get beat, I guess. Just like WWE, same thing. Then you had Billy Gunn and Christian Cage backstage arguing. Billy Gunn's sons, they won a shot at the tag team belts. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. I guess Christian is officially the father of Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. And the father, Billy Gunn, goes and asks the father of the other team, hey, my sons won a match against your sons. Oh, yeah, your sons won a match. Will make an impact. Because you and your kid are nothing but jobbers or something. Christian said that Billy could never win the big one. He could never make an impact. And he said, if his jobber green sons won the title shot, then, they should make an impact. And then it was an obviously staged and phony baloney attack. There, the sons attack Christian from behind or whatever. We just made an impact. And the kid there, young gun, whatever, whichever one it was, with some bad acting. We just made an impact, Christian. So now it's Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus versus the Gun Club. I don't fucking know when, nor do I give a fuck or whatever. But really, like, Christian, he's the one doing the promo work and everything for Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, because neither of them can talk, or neither of them have real experience. You know what I mean? And if Billy Gunn had half a brain, he would have stayed in WWE. Maybe his sons could have went to the Performance Center for a couple years, right? Before, get trained properly. Then maybe McMahon would have pushed them. Billy Gunn worked for McMahon for 30 years. I'm sure McMahon would have pushed his sons, or at least given them a shot. You know what I mean? Billy Gunn should have stayed over in WWE, but or at least have his sons go train there. They could have did the new Smoking Guns or something. Because right now it's obvious that they're not trained and they have no fucking clue what they're doing. And it's their 60-year-old father, 60-plus-year-old father, Billy Gunn, that has to do everything for them, right? And Jungle Boy, too, it's Christian that's babysitting them. Wasn't Christian supposed to go there because he wants to compete? Right? Christian had a great match against Kenny Omega on Rampage. He had a very good match or whatever. You know, they haven't used him since. They haven't done shit with him since the matches against Kenny. Right? Those were some of the best matches in AEW. Kenny against Christian. The first match, I think, was one of the top best wrestling matches in AEW because Christian, he was able to fucking, be the ring general, and Kenny, he was used properly, right? And it made for a good wrestling match, right? Since then, they use Christian like as a manager more than anything else, right? Christian could have stayed in WWE to be a manager, right? Hold on, folks. I'm going to make myself a little espresso here, ladies and gentlemen. Nescafe Gold, folks. But when you think about it, didn't Christian leave, right? Apparently, he wants to outwork everybody, and he's too good, I guess, to work in WWE and not wrestle all the time. What's he doing now? He's not even wrestling. He's a manager. Fuck. You know? I thought he was against this, but I guess it's okay there. It's okay that Christian's a manager and not used much in AEW, but it's bad if WWE does that, right? I call these fucking guys like Matt Hardy, this motherfucker's finished, right? He's fucking finished. It's obvious that he shouldn't be on television, Matt Hardy. Christian, he can still go, apparently. He can still go. Do AEW use him properly? No, they're using him as a manager, right? Matt Hardy, the guy that shouldn't be wrestling, is wrestling every week. Christian, the guy that can wrestle, is just a fucking manager. So, but I guess he's helping out Jungle Boy or whatever. So, just a cheap company, right? Lots of hypocrisy with this company, folks. Sorry there. Let me take a little sip of this fucking thing. Podcasts and making coffee at the same time, folks. Espresso, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep there. Oh! Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. I got somebody knocking at the door. Hold on a minute. I don't know what the fuck noise that is there, but it's not at my door. Moving on, folks. Maybe there's a fucking spirit in my apartment making noise. I don't know there. Cody Rhodes, ladies and gentlemen, had a big promo there. The return of Cody Rhodes, folks. So, Cody, they came out with this Fightful thing. He doesn't have a contract or whatever. You know, people are thinking, is he going to the Rumble? There's a little bit of excitement, not from me, from what culture, from Cultaholic, from whoever the fuck is trying to pretend that this is news, right? These people are acting excited or whatever. But honestly, it's nothing. It's trash. There's nothing there. And then it's supposed to be a big deal. Cody Rhodes on Dynamite or whatever. He's back. Do they do something with this? Is there something special with the contract bullshit or whatever? No. They do nothing. They do fuck all with it. It's Cody Rhodes cutting a promo, a fucking weird promo, folks. I'm sorry, I'm fucking distracted by this noise there. He cuts a fucking weird promo, okay? He's acting like a heel, but he says he don't want to be a heel. He's all over the place. He starts talking about CM Punk, the pipe bomb or whatever. I've never seen this in wrestling, that a man tries to get cheers from a crowd by bringing up another man's promo. Like, imagine, you know what I mean? In order to get cheers, the man has to invoke the pipe bomb, and that's from fucking 11 years ago, the pipe bomb, right? Nothing has happened in wrestling since or whatever. Well, in WWE, shit's happened, but like Punk hasn't done anything since or whatever. Cody Rhodes has never done anything, period. Yeah. He competed in the first ever cage match. But isn't it fucking weird that Cody Rhodes, a wrestler himself, a man who's apparently good at promos, he has to bring up another man's promos or whatever. You know what I mean? To try to get over. So he says basically he takes the pipe bomb and he tries to create some kind of weird storyline that, the pipe bomb it started a movement and all of this, and then this movement eventually becomes AEW. I don't fucking know what kind of weird thing they're trying to do with this or whatever. So he talks about Punk, the pipe bomb. It started a big movement, basically, an anti-WWE movement, basically. And then he talks about how Punk left and he continued the movement while Punk was gone. CM Punk, he talked about teaming with the Young Bucks. I did that. He talked about Ring of Honor. I went to Ring of Honor. You know what I mean? Like, basically, Punk was some kind of messiah who started an anti-McMahon movement there. But then Punk left, and then Cody Rhodes became the new messiah, basically. He says, I carried the anti-monopoly sentiment on my shoulders, and you people cheered me for it. Basically, he's fucking weird, man. He's delusional. The anti-monopoly sentiment. He's clearly talking about anti-WWE WWE sentiment. So Punk starts a movement. He left. And then Cody Rhodes took over the movement, and he did everything that Punk talked about in the pipe bomb. You know, I thought the fans were bad enough, the indie fans, the way that they took this seriously there. And here you have Cody Rhodes. It looks like he's starting a fucking religion with the pipe bomb or something. Thousands of years ago, on top of Mount Sinai, CM Punk cut a pipe bomb. And then he was crucified for his sins. And then I took over. I bared the cross. I carried all the WWE hate sentiment on my shoulders. And you people feared me for it. The shit is fucking weird. It's weird. Only an indie fan would find this interesting there. That Cody Rhodes thinks he's a fucking hero. Like if he's fucking Jesus Christ there. That he bared all the AEW or anti-WWE sentiment on his shoulders there. Like if he's fucking Jesus Christ carrying our sins or something. I bared it all on my shoulders. And you people cheered me when I needed you the most. Like, are these people serious? Wrestlers acting like they're hot shit because they say that they hate WWE. Like, all of this, why? Because his father wore polka dots in WWE, for the love of God. Like, his father was finished by the time he got to WWE. Right? It was his last few years as a wrestler, Dusty Rhodes, for fuck's sakes. You know what I mean? It was his last few years, maybe in the Southern Territories. He was the world champ, but when he got to WWE, he was in his 50s. He looked like he was in his 60s. He looked like he was somebody's grandmother. I'm not trying to bash Dusty Rhodes, but he had the same physique as my grandmother, for God's sake. You know what I mean? And McMahon gave him polka dot. You know what that did for Dusty? It made him millions of dollars, the polka dots. Right? He sold merchandise, action figures, his pictures on Lunchbox. Cody Rhodes was able to grow up as a little fucking rich boy with a silver spoon in his mouth thanks to that money. You know what I mean? You know, and after this, Dusty Rhodes went backstage in WCW. He didn't even wrestle anymore. Was he supposed to come in his 50s looking like a 60-year-old woman? And he should have beat Hulk Hogan when he was finished. His father. Let's fucking get real here, for fuck's sake. What did McMahon do wrong to Dusty Rhodes? He brought in a guy that was finished. He gave him a gimmick, a song, a manager. He made it work. The American Dream, the bionic elbow for a couple of years or whatever, made money for Dusty Rhodes. He was finished as a wrestler. How the fuck did they treat him so badly? They didn't. They made him money, right? After this, he went backstage for WCW, and then he came back and worked for McMahon for years. And McMahon brought in his son, Dustin, right? Dustin wasn't a world champ in WCW, right? McMahon gave him a big character, but Dustin Rhodes has himself. He was bland. You know what I mean? As Goldust, there was a character, and it worked. and it made a shit ton of money. Dustin Rhodes made money. Cody Rhodes fucking got a job in WWE because of his father. That's why he got famous, not because of Ring of Honor. Nobody gives a shit about what he did in New Japan or whatever. You know, it's because of McMahon. Like, why the fuck would Cody Rhodes have anti McMahon sentiment? The kid's a fucking goof, straight up. McMahon gave them everything. Fuck. You know, Dusty Rhodes worked there until he was dead. Fuck. You know, they McMahon pays homage to Dusty Rhodes every year with NXT shit like this. Like, it's pretty fucking sad, Cody Rhodes, to do this fucking goofy anti-WWE gimmick just to try to impress fucking indie marks. It's pretty fucking pathetic. You know what I mean? Everything McMahon did for them, you know. And this is the way Cody thanks them, by acting like this. A fucking goof. And it's pretty pathetic that the going this far to pander to the fucking big retarded marks in the crowd. You know what I mean? Not only is he bringing up the fucking pipe bomb, all of this shit, but the whole anti-WWE stuff, it's fucking weird. And then he's talking about the forbidden door. All of you journalists, if you don't agree with what I say, then you're not being objective. Before all of the forbidden door, I was the forbidden door. And what reality is he the forbidden door? Like, before he fucking came along, there was 1,000 other companies that did forbidden door stuff, including McMahon. McMahon did the forbidden door way before Khan. You know what I mean? Not just with companies that he bought, but with other companies as well. You know what I mean? There was a couple of times he went to other companies, McMahon himself, different stuff. WCW did this shit. Sting versus Great Muta, motherfuckers, the early 90s. Millions of people watched this shit. Sting versus Great Muta, like, way before Ring of Honor did this shit. You know, all the big companies did this stuff way before, you know, Cody Rhodes. I built the forbidden door. Fucking get a life, man. This guy is a fucking idiot. He's so delusional. He thinks he's so special. He's just a fucking goof, straight up. Like, you know what I mean? This promo is pretty fucking sad. Like, and of course he brings up Gunter, right? Oh, I know we're not in the business of changing names. Gunter McGilla, buddy. Apparently that's funny over there. I guess the Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes backstage. McGilla, buddy. McGilla, buddy. So, of course, you know, marks are crying. Smarks are crying because Gunter, right? Walter, which sounds like an old man's name. They call him Gunter or whatever. Marks are crying on the internet, and a real pro wrestler that's supposed to understand the wrestling business or whatever, he has to fucking talk about this in the promo to pander to the marks. What a fucking goof. Like, cut a good promo, do your own shit. Like, Gunter McGilla, buddy. Is that the best you got, AEW? There, is that really the best that an alternative company has to give to us? You know what I mean? Like, that's the best you can provide. Talking about the fucking pipe bomb of 10 plus years ago, pandering to the marks. I carried the anti-WWE sentiment. They've all been doing this gimmick on the indies for the past 20 years. The reason why it worked with Punk is because McMahon let this shit happen on his own television. You know what I mean? They've all been cutting the same promo on D&Ds for the past 30 years. This is real wrestling. Fuck you, McMahon. They've all been cutting the same promo. Everybody that gets released goes on D&Ds and they cut the same promo. Like Cody Rhodes thinking that he's so fucking special, that he carried all the hate. Like, they've all been doing this hate for the past 20, 30 years. You know what I mean? Like, this motherfucker has done nothing special at all. Okay? McMahon made this kid. If it wasn't for McMahon, none of us would fucking know who he is, straight up. His father's not a victim. Just because people like Dave Meltzer talk about how Dusty Rhodes wore the polka dots or something, Cody Rhodes should know that fucking McMahon made his father money. He got to spend that fucking money. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that he tries to act like him and his father are victims of McMahon just to fucking pander to these big goofy marks, I find that fucking sick. I don't think it's cool. I find it fucking sick on this part. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing cool in this. But and now apparently some of the AEW fans, they love him again. First of all, nobody asked y'all to turn on him. Y'all are the motherfuckers that turned on him because you were jerking off to Malachi Black, right? Cody Rhodes and Daniel Bryan come to town. Suddenly you forget about Cody Rhodes or whatever, and you start to hate on him. Look at the crowd. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Like, if this motherfucker raped somebody, even I don't hate Cody that much. And here's the deal, Cody didn't do anything wrong to AEW fans. That's the weird part. They just turned on him out of nowhere. Us, we've been making fun of him from the beginning, but we don't hate him half as much as the fucking AEW fans hating on him for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, he's been going out of his way to pander to these big retarded goofs from the get-go, and they turn on him. Like, the whole company and the whole fan base is fucking weird and fucking strange in the head. Like, but basically his promo sucked, right? You could have did something big with this contract stuff. He mentioned it. Tony Khan sent us a contract in the mail. Me and Sammy Guevara. So it's him and Sammy Guevara in the ladder match next week. Is it the first ladder match? I don't remember there, but it's apparently a ladder match next week or whatever. Him and Sammy Guevara. But as far as the promo, AEW fans talking like this was a big, great promo. The promo's fucking pathetic. It's very weird. At one point, he starts talking like Stardust. Malachi Black! He beat me, and I don't like to lose. Like that. He sounded like that with a weird face. Like, I don't like to lose. That's the face he made. the fuck was that? What's this guy doing? Like, this promo was all over the place. It was strange. Him too, maybe he did coke with Moxley before the match started. I don't know what the fuck these guys were on tonight. Like, it's not just Tony Khan who's on drugs with the booking. Fucking half the roster were on drugs tonight or whatever. But and Cody Rhodes, he was talking about this guy Brody King that came in last week because of Brody that died or whatever. It takes some balls for another man to come in that's called Brody. You know, they have like 3 guys with the name Page and shit like this. 10 guys with the name Cage, but apparently you can't have 2 Brodies. And you can't have 2 Gunter Starks. You gotta respect the Nazis. I mean, that's the Nazis' name. It belongs to them. And so does Brody. It belongs to the dead guy that we milk his death and make money off of. It belongs to him. That's a yearly pay-per-view. Brody's death. And we have another pay-per-view. It's called Brody's birthday. You know, eventually they're going to bring in his son, and his son's going to become world champion. Guys, I know you've locked me to a 20-year contract, but I don't even want to do this wrestling thing anymore. Sorry, kid, but you're in the contract for life. But apparently, you know, they're already doing the comparisons there. Brody, the dead guy, and Brody King there. So his name is Brody. So just like another guy called Brody. So it's the same guy. And now the fans are going to pretend to cheer for him because his name is Brody. This is fucking weird. This company's weird. Third match, Malachi Black defeated Brody. And no. Malachi Black and Brody King defeated the Varsity Blondes. So Malachi Black, this Brody King, he looks like a retarded fat clone of Malachi Black. They look the same or whatever, you know what I mean. Before I move on, Cody Rhodes' promo was shit. Just taking cheap shots at WWE to pander to the marks. This thing was all over the place. You could have done something good. This was terrible. It's bad. It's cheap. You know, this is just garbage there. But like this Brody King, he looks like Malachi Black. You've seen this in movies and cartoons when there's like clones and stuff. The clone is going to be like a fat mongoloid version of the original there. This is what this Brody King looks like. Like he's a weird mongoloid version of Malachi Black, bigger, fatter, uglier. But it looks like it's the same guy, the tattoos or whatever. They beat the Varsity Blondes. And then it's Pac on the Titantron. Like, first of all, Cody Rhodes, all right? It sounds like he's cutting a promo against CM Punk. Everything Punk said, I did it. So is MJF fighting Punk? Is it MJF against Wardlow? Is CM Punk fighting, Cody Rhodes now with this promo? Is Malachi Black fighting Cody Rhodes? Because Cody says he wants to fight Malachi or whatever. And Malachi's feuding with Varsity Blonde. I guess that feud's finished. And this match was shit. Throwaway tag team match. And then Pac appears on the Titantron. So who the fuck is Malachi Black fighting? Is he fighting Cody? Is he fighting Pac? Is Pac fighting CM Punk? I'm confused now of who's fighting who. This company is a fucking shit show and a half. I mean, really, who the fuck is fighting who here? For fuck's sake, man. And then Pac appears on the Titantron. Now Pac is acting like a demon. He's acting like some kind of cryptic demon. Malakir, I'm gonna get you, Malakir. And he's all demonic and weird or whatever. Like, you thought it was dumb, but them berk. And he's all demonic. How many fucking demons do you have in this company? Like, maybe Pac is going to join this group. They all look the same. Malachi and Pac, they both look the same, basically. You might as well just join this group. They're all going to look identical. The three fucking demonic stooges or whatever. Like, Pac on the Titantron acting like a demon out of nowhere. How many fucking demons do you need in one fucking company, for real? I am not interested in Malachi Black against Pac in the demonic 5-star fuckface. I'm not interested in this. We're all scared. We're a scary bunch, and we're gonna have a 5-star wrestling match. Like, what am I watching here? Like, seriously. This is way too fucking lame. Like, and then you had a video package for Lance Archer and Hangman Page. Like, Hangman Page, or I mean, Lance Archer, now he has two managers. The real manager is Jake Roberts, but he can't go to the ring because he needs an oxygen tank. They made him go to the ramp with the oxygen tank. But now Lance Archer has two managers. Jake the Snake and Dan Lambert. Who needs two manager? Fuck, like, Lance Archer sucks so much he needs two manager, for the love of Christ. Like, for God's sake, man. But basically in the video package, it's Jake the Snake cutting a promo or whatever. Jake the Snake can still talk, but you know, he can't talk much. He's very unhealthy. And then you have basically in this promo, they're talking about how Hangman Page is into real cowboy, because last week, and I myself talked about this before they brought this up on their fucking show, and I'm a big fucking basher of AEW, right? I talked about Adam Page. He's not a real cowboy. I talked about Clint Eastwood as a cowboy, John Wayne. These guys look like men. I said, Adam Page, you don't look like a man like that. You don't look like a cowboy. He looks like a fucking goof, is what I said. They go on television and they repeat the same shit on the TV show about their own champion. Dan Lambert, he says, he compares him to a bunch of cowboy wrestlers from the past. Here's a bunch of real cowboy wrestlers. You're not like this. These were real men. You're not like that. And here's the deal. We know that Lambert is telling the truth. We can't deny what he's saying. Oh, Blackjack Mulligan, all of these men, these were real men. You're not a cowboy like them, and we can't deny it. We can't deny that. Lambert is saying the truth, and we know it's the truth. The fans know it's the truth as well. You know what I mean? Like, and then he called him the East Coast Cowboy. They pretty much killed this gimmick. They crushed it into a fine powder. And Adam Page, I did this and I did that. Isn't that cowboy shit? And Lamberti's like, no, it's not. And that's what I was saying too. That's not cowboy shit. None of this makes you a cowboy, and it don't. And the fans know that it don't. And it's pathetic. And they pretty much crushed his own gimmick of their own champ on the show. So during the video package, they're talking about how he's not a cowboy. And in the video package, you hear what's his face, the champion. You think Cowboy Bob Orton was working on a dairy farm? So basically, now Adam Page admits that he's not a cowboy, basically, based off of what he's saying, right? Did the great cowboy wrestlers from the past have to actually come out and admit that, right? That they're not a real cowboy? No. They called themselves cowboy. They look the part. They look like big tough guy, and they were, most of them. JBL, that's a big fucking guy, you know. Nobody ever fucking questioned if JBL was a real Southern guy or whatever. Or, you know, nobody ever questioned these big fucking guys, right? And the fact that he has to fucking basically admit that he's not a cowboy. But, you know, did Cowboy Bob really work on the farm? Like and this is in the video package for their match. The fact that he has to try to fuck, you know, maybe I'm not a real cowboy, maybe I'm not good enough or convincing enough to be a cowboy. So let me bury Cowboy Bob Orton now. You know, Cowboy wasn't a real cowboy either. That's what you got to do now because you've been exposed as a fake by your own show. You have to bury the cowboys from the past. Cowboy Bob wasn't a real cowboy either. You know what I mean? That's how pathetic this company is there. And that's their world champ. And this is in the video package for the world title. Can you be any more pathetic? For your video package for the belt. Can you imagine that? That you're defending the gimmick for a video package for the world title. I've never seen anything more fucking pathetic. You know what I mean? Imagine Rocky Balboa. Hey, I'm not a real fighter, but imagine Rocky Balboa. That's what he says during the movie. I'm not really a fighter, Adrian, but you know what I mean? They're telling people that he's not a real cowboy, and this is in the video package for the world title match. You can't get any more small time and bad booking than this. Like, let's be real. And then Roppongi Vice came out, folks. Roppongi Vice. They're still there. Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta. I've never seen this, folks. Trent Beretta of the Best Friends. A guy, he's a part of two different tag teams at the same time on the same show. Have you ever seen this? Like, he's a part of Roppongi Vice. Nobody gives two fucking shits about Roppongi Vice, Tony. By the way, news flash, nobody fucking cares about some Hamanager team that was in New Japan. Nobody fucking cares. When people talk about Japan, they talk about Kenny and Okada because that's the only match that people have seen from New Japan. That's why they talk about this. You know, nobody gives two fucking shits about Roppongi Vice. The fact that you have to fucking have two tag teams, a man be a part of two tag teams on the same fucking show at the same time. The fact that you gotta fucking do weird shit like this just because it's Roppongi Vice. Nobody cares about Roppongi Vice. Nobody. Nobody cares about the other team either. Fuck. Let this guy be a part of one team and one team only. It's bad enough you have people that are a part of this different stables and shit. Like, now you have guys who are a part of multiple tag teams at the same time on the same show. And apparently, this company takes tag team wrestling seriously. This is fucking clown shit. Like, in the fourth match, Lance Archer defeated Frankie Kazarian, the big number one contender, Lance Archer. And this match was super fucking boring. Super, super incredibly boring. Like I said, slow and methodical without the methodical. Just slow and incredibly boring. Lance Archer beats up Kazarian. This went way too long. Lambert is out there. Lance Archer's about to beat Frankie Kazarian. Hangman Page comes out and he clotheslines Lance Archer. So you spend 15 minutes trying to make Archer look strong with this boring match. And then you have fucking Adam Page just comes out and makes him look like a bitch. So, you know what I mean? And Hangman Page himself, y'all are making him look like a bitch yourselves on the fucking show. Like, you know what I mean? And here's the thing, Lance Archer, I've thought he was a bum from the get-go because I've seen him in TNA and I've seen a few things from him in Japan myself. And I thought he was a fucking ham and egger, this guy. Okay. Always thought he was a fucking bum. Lance Hoyt, a fucking bum. All right. But, and even AEW fans themselves now, they see him as damaged goods. Nobody thinks this guy's winning the belt. This is worse than like a Dolph Ziggler random title shot. You know what? This is what they're doing now. Random fucking Eddie Kingston title shot. Random Lance Archer title shot or whatever. And Lance Archer, he's been beat every time it matters. He's apparently viewed as damaged goods. I never seen him as good ever, but like, you know, nobody thinks he's winning. What you could do is try to make him look dominant. You want him to beat up Frankie Kazarian? Let him beat Frankie with the chair. Fuck. Let him look as tough as you can. Have him beat up Adam Page to try to make it look like Archer has any type of chance. But you know what? Nobody thinks he does. Nobody gives a fuck about this match. This is low quality. This isn't a high quality match. All right. You have Roman Reigns against Seth, and that's not even the big one. It's Roman or it's Brock against Bobby. These matches are big matches. And what do you give? You give Lance Archer against Hangman Page. That's a joke. TNA has better matches than that. Seriously. Like, you know what I mean? But this segment sucked. The match sucked. This was bad. You had Statlander and Red Velvet backstage, and they were attacked by Layla Hirsch. Layla Hirsch is fucking weird. She looks weird. She sucks. Who are they trying to cater to there with this? The ugly dwarf demographic? Like, who has the ugly dwarf fetish? Is this another Kenny Omega thing? Like, Nobody gives a fuck about Statlander, this green girl against a fucking green ugly midget who looks like a fucking half Shayna Baszler or whatever. Nobody fucking cares. Straight up. Speaking of nobody cares, in the fifth match, Serena Deeb defeated Sky Blue, a fucking green jobber girl. And you know what? Serena Deeb is fucking boring. Okay, this girl looks skinny. Her face, she looks like another person that's on crack. She looks like she's a skinny 50-year-old on crack. She's not pretty, and she fucking sucks. Imagine naming yourself after Dean Malenko, the woman of 1,000 olds. Dean Malenko, one of the most boring fucking wrestlers ever. Well, not really. He had a fucking bland character, but he was good, Malenko. He pulled it off. He was bland and he had just one fucking look on his face. The fucking king of the stone face or whatever, but he made it work. This bitch don't make it work. This bitch fucking sucks. I don't give a fuck if she was in the stable with Punk. And I don't care if Cody Rhodes wants to jerk off Punk backstage. I don't give a fuck if he liked the pipe bomb. I don't give two shits who this bitch is affiliated with. She's boring. Her matches suck. She's ugly. And I don't give a fuck. Get this bitch off my television. I don't give a shit about this boring chick there. Fuck her. You know what I mean? Maybe she's nice. Maybe she's friendly. But I've heard enough of the Serena Deeb fucking victim bullshit. Fuck this girl. And the other ugly one too, Martinez. They can form a tag team, call themselves the ugly ducklings that nobody give a fuck about. The victim, the ugly victims or whatever. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? This bitch is fucking boring. And there was a Hook video package, folks. Hook, folks. I don't know when he's going to come back or whatever there. But I'd rather see Hook than fucking Serena Deeb or whatever. That's for damn sure. And no, I don't like Hook. No, I'm not getting into Hook. But I'd rather see him than this fucking ugly fucking girls like Serena Deeb and Layla Hirsch. And even Nyla Rose is prettier than these fucking women. Let's be honest there. Like, and no, I'm not attracted to Nyla Rose, but goddamn, these are ugly women. Like, they're ugly. Fuck. Jesus Christ. And in the main event, Sting and Darby Allin defeated the Acclaim, you know. Sting in a random match. They've been booking this a little bit there. You know what? I'll take it. Fuck, I get to see Sting wrestling. Darby was hurt. Sting wrestled most of the match. He's old and stuff. He moves slow. You know, he started wearing a t-shirt. Now he's wearing a sweatshirt. He's 65, you know. But I'd rather see Sting than 99% of the fucking people on this show. You know what I mean? After seeing the god-awful stuff on this program, I'm happy to see Sting, a wrestler that I loved or whatever. You know what I mean? And I like the Acclaim too there. So, do I think this was good wrestling match? No, but you know it was fucking better than everything else on this fucking show because this show fucking sucked. 4-star, 4 out of 10. Fuck, 4 out of fucking 10, maybe 3.5, 3 out of 10. Seriously, like. What was the big deal that Moxley and Cody were back? Moxley looked like he was on fucking crack. Like, he should have been back in a month. This guy needs to heal up, stay home, fatten up, eat some chocolate chip cookies, a bit of chicken noodle soup or something. You know what I mean? But yeah, like, fucking terrible show. I give this 3 out of 10. Like, 4 out of 10 is being generous. Straight up, it's being generous. So, thank you, folks. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for stay tuned for later. There, night news, baby, coming tonight. There, I got some stuff to do. I gotta fucking eat something. I'm starving, ladies and gentlemen. I came home to give y'all some wrestling talk there. Wrestling before I even ate supper there, folks. But I'm gonna eat and some not news coming later tonight, folks. Until next time, peace. Ha! Horrible show there. 3.5 out of 10. Until next time, peace. Ha! End broadcast.